Welcome to another episode of A.R.E. Inside Connection, where we bring you the inside scoop of the happenings at the A.R.E. My name is Loretto. I am the marketing coordinator here, and today we're doing things a little bit differently. We have Peter Woodbury joining us, and he's actually going to be interviewing me. So we're doing an A.R.E. Inside Connection reversed. Welcome, Peter. Thank you for doing this today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's going to be, I'm looking forward to our conversation.
Yeah, me too.
So where should we start? I mean, it might be nice to know a little bit more about your background. I mean, I know you're from Quito, you're from Ecuador. Tell us a little bit about how your story, eventually how you got involved in metaphysical things.
So I was born in Ecuador, in Quito, and I moved to the States when my parents, when I was 14. My parents decided, it was a good opportunity. My sister was living here at the time, and we decided to move, and she sponsored us, and we came here.
So your sister lived here in Virginia Beach?
Yeah, she lived in Virginia Beach. She was here with her husband. He had a job here, and she was here for about the first 3 years that I was, that we were in the States, and then she moved away. But that's how we ended up in Virginia Beach.
Now, did you find out about Edgar Cayce in Ecuador? Because I know I've been there a few times. There's a big Cayce community, but it's more in Guayaquil. I don't know if it's.
Yeah, I had never heard about Edgar Cayce while I was in Ecuador. I was raised Catholic and had the Catholic background, but I didn't know much about Edgar Cayce or really any of the New Age type of, philosophy. And it wasn't until I came to Virginia Beach that I came to the A.R.E. Center while I was in high school one year. And
yeah, that's what I found, or I think in Latin America, where there's such a strong Catholic influence. Like I remember when we had a very successful 2-day conference, and it was like 350 people came. This was in Guayaquil. And I remember that there was questions about how Edgar Cayce talks about Jesus being a man and Christ being a consciousness, and there was the Catholic version being that's one, that Jesus is God.
I could see how there's a little resistance there,
Yeah, but it was interesting to see that there's an openness. Like there was I think people are like around the world are questioning, and maybe in Latin America it's a little bit more because of the church influence.
Right.
That is a little bit taking more time, or it's a little bit more involved.
Yeah, I am. For me, learning about Edgar Cayce and just kind of, the readings and the material just kind of helped me understand what I had learned previously, through my Catholic influence, kind of put things into a much deeper and bigger perspective. The Catholic Church and my upbringing didn't quite fit with me, or what I felt was true, and it seemed like what I was learning through the A.R.E. just kind of made sense,
Yeah, so we had a similar path, because I was also raised Catholic, and things didn't resonate with me, like no one gets to the Father but through me. That always felt kind of, how would God be so selective?
Yeah.
So yes, and then the reincarnations of Jesus, those sorts of things started making, by the time I went to college, it was like I'd sort of relegated Jesus to like Santa Claus or the Easter Bunny. And it was through Cayce that it came to life.
Yeah.
And it sounds like that you shared that.
Yeah, definitely, especially more recently that I have been able to really kind of go deeper into the Cayce material. I've watched that video about the past lives of Jesus, and it's just so fascinating. It has really helped me kind of bridge my upbringing with kind of how I feel now. So it's a good point to be.
Well, let's talk a little bit more just about, 14 is, it's a tough time to leave a culture, a country, a language, and to move to the States. Like, when your parents started talking about coming to the United States, did you feel mixed about it, or were you
A little mixed
wanting to
about
stay?
it. As I was growing up, my dad was from Chile.
Mm-hmm.
So I always had that, I always felt like I was not completely Ecuadorian.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I love Ecuador and I love where I come from, but while I was there, it didn't quite feel like I was meant to be there.
Mm-hmm.
I always wanted to be Chilean because I just felt more exciting for some reason to me,
Kind of
So
more cosmopolitan or something?
When they started talking about coming here, it was exciting for me. I was like, oh, like an adventure.
Yeah.
And you're thinking about the U.S. kind of like what you see in the movies, like that's my idea. But it was hard, actually making the move and coming from, I went to an all-girls Catholic school, and then coming to a public high school was co-ed and so much more liberal. It was a big change.
Wow.
Very big change.
And how was were you fluent in English by the time when you came, or were you sort of working on it?
Yeah, working on it.
Yeah.
I mean, in Ecuador, they teach English since you're in kindergarten.
Oh,
so
I
you
see.
kind of know a little bit, basic. When I came here, I felt like I knew enough, but that was not the case. Once you start talking to people speak differently than what you're learning. Like I knew the grammar, but I didn't really know how to talk to people.
Yeah.
The slang or like the street terms, the idioms, I had a hard time with that. So it was an adjustment.
Oh, that's, it's a parallel, because when I was about 11 or 12, we moved to Puerto Rico. And so it's a little bit like reverse. I was English dominant and went to a Catholic school in San Juan, Puerto Rico. And I understood Spanish because when I was a kid, I would talk Spanish first, apparently. But then later on, my mom would speak in Spanish, and I just would answer in English. So going to school, and then Puerto Rican Spanish, I think, is the fastest Spanish there is. It's like they make one word.
Yeah.
The whole sentence can sound like one word.
Yeah. It's funny how Spanish-speaking countries, each country has their own little
They do.
Dialect almost,
Yeah.
But with me learning English, I went to English as a second language class for a while. Didn't want to do that anymore because I felt like I was not really learning what I wanted to learn. I started listening to music and actually like pulling up lyrics. I was like, maybe learning the lyrics will help me, to like try to learn more of like how people talk. So.
I've heard of people learning like English by watching movies. Like, to me, that's so, I can't imagine how you could learn a language. Like, I watch movies in all kinds of languages. I don't feel like I could learn it.
Yeah.
But I guess maybe if you see enough of them or something like that.
I think it just gives you a little bit more of a perspective of like actual, like life, like what's happening. When you're in an academic setting, it's a little bit
That's
more,
true. It's like language and stuff that people don't really talk. Colloquially. So when you were growing up, like before you moved here, those first 14 years, did you have a religious feeling or a spiritual feeling? Like, was there a seed of what eventually came forth with the Edgar Cayce work?
I don't think so. While growing up, in Latin America, most people are Catholic, so you kind of are just almost born to that, I went to a Catholic school. My dad wasn't really a very religious person at the time, so we didn't really go to church on Sundays or did things like that, but it was important for my mom, I think, that, at least I had like I went to a Catholic school and had that upbringing.
It's like being culturally Catholic.
Yeah. But I didn't really felt like there was, a connection. And it wasn't until I came here, I actually, when I was in high school, my brother had a friend that had started coming here to the A.R.E, and she brought us to a little survey lecture that they do in the afternoons about dream interpretation. And I found that it was so interesting, and so like a new concept for me, and I got hooked and just wanted to learn more. At the time, I was in a public speaking class, and I had to present, do an informative speech. And I decided to take what I learned on that survey lecture and, make a speech about that. And I think that was the first time that I got excited about the A.R.E. and learned about it and learned about Edgar Cayce. And I think that was the first seed planted.
And so that's when you were in high school?
Yeah.
And then what was the route that you took from there to eventually working here? What were the twists and turns?
After high school, I moved away for a few years. And when you're at that age, you're not really thinking, my life was about going to school and being with friends, I was not really thinking about my spiritual side at the time. And so I went to school, moved to Arizona for a few years. I came back to the area to go to school at ODU. And then once I graduated, that's when I kind of started looking for more, real jobs, something more along the lines of what I went to school for, which was recreation and tourism. And one of my best friends, she found a job posting for the A.R.E. for the travel programs position. And she sent it to me, and it kind of it fell on my lap. It was the last day to apply. The position was already, I think they were already thinking about who was going to have the position. I think it was about to close, and I sent my information. And I had a phone interview with Vanessa, who was the previous tour coordinator. And then right after that, I had an interview with Kevin. And then within 3 days, I had the job. And it happened so fast, and it was from something that just kind of fell on my lap. I didn't even go looking for it, which was kind of exciting. And
yeah, we got to work together when you were in tours. And I think being bilingual really helped a lot with with Latin American tours or in Spain. Or
I loved it. I really enjoyed doing that job and working here. But about 2 years later, I had to move away, and when I moved to Florida. I left for about 3 years. And after that, when I was coming back to the area again, I wanted to come back and work at the A.R.E. So I was just waiting to see if any positions were gonna, open up. And I got into the marketing department. So.
Oh, good. And then do you feel? I would feel that maybe marketing is a better fit for you. As much as you were successful, you did a great job with tours, but it just seems that your skill set lends itself more to. Have you felt that it's?
I think so.
It brings out more.
Yeah,
definitely. Of what your interests and talents are.
Definitely. I, with the tours department, it was kind of like a one-person department, and I enjoy working as a team. I remember
your office was in the old hospital building in the basement.
Yeah.
It was a little cell.
I know.
Yeah.
So that was a little bit tough. I love working with a team and having different people to work with, so I enjoy that aspect. And it's a lot more creative. I get to help promote all the different things that are going on at the A.R.E., so I enjoy that. One of my roles right now is doing community outreach with some of the small businesses in the area or the business professionals in the area. So I do a little bit of networking, and I go and talk about the A.R.E., and that's probably one of my favorite things to do. I really enjoy it.
Now, do you have any, being bilingual myself, it's like everywhere I've ever worked, there's always been a push to do things in Spanish.
Yeah.
Do you have interest, or is there a movement towards doing more expand? I know for a while there was a page, a website had its own, or they were trying to create a whole Spanish language website.
We're trying, I've started doing some, translating some of the blogs that we have. We have a blog page that's in Spanish right now, and we have quite a few blogs that are already on there.
And is there a lot of interest? Do they generate like a
It
pretty
seems
big
like
following?
it. I feel like we haven't promoted it as much, as we usually do with our regular page. But I know on Facebook, I've come around a couple Edgar Cayce groups that are for Spanish-speaking, Latin people or Hispanics.
Oh, okay.
There's a group that's started by one of our contacts in Spain, and that seems to be very active. So I know that the interest is there. I've heard that they would like more to be translated into Spanish and some other languages. So you wear a lot of hats here at the A.R.E, so it's kind of finding the right time to get to do all of that.
Yeah, the times that I've gone to Ecuador, it's been very fruitful that there's such a big, I found there's a big interest, especially in doing trainings, because people like Dolores Cannon and Brian Weiss are very successful, but sometimes because of the language. So doing a training in Spanish.
Yeah.
So that'd be nice. I mean,
Nice.
I hope that that continues to grow. I know that there's also evolution with Chinese language, with Mandarin also. So I guess the A.R.E is slowly
and our Japanese center is also very much active.
Yes.
Yeah, so.
So we do have international, multi-language
Yeah,
presence.
and now with the pandemic, we've really been able to reach our international audience a little bit more through all of our online events. We've seen people just joining us from all over the world, which is really exciting, because when we were doing things in person, a lot of people couldn't make it over here, but now they're more engaged, and that's very exciting.
Yeah, I saw that last year when we did the online Congress.
Yeah.
A lot of people, the usuals that come every year missed the camaraderie of being in person.
Yeah.
But there was also people that said, it's the first time I've been able to attend, and from Australia or Europe. And so it's, it has been, there's an upside also to, not necessarily to the pandemic, but how people have responded to it by getting more comfortable with online platforms and those sort of things.
We should plan a tour to Ecuador.
Yeah, that would be.
Can I assist?
That would be wonderful. Yeah,
that would be really fun.
I remember the tropical fruits, like at breakfast.
Oh my gosh.
It was just like the stuff I'd never seen before.
Yeah.
Like every day was a new fruit.
That's one of the things that I miss the most. I miss the food a lot, and the fruits. Oh my goodness, there are some just. My grandparents, my grandma had a little farm in the rainforest.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so every summer we used to go for, a few weeks.
And just eat tropical
Oh my gosh.
fruits.
Yeah,
fruits
and she
things.
had chickens and stuff like that, but everything was just farm to table type of thing. We had to go walk a mile to get different types of fruits that she would grow,
Wow.
And it was
And how about
unique.
with your cuisine and what you cook for your family? Do you do something in between now, or do you do some Ecuadorian
I wish
meals?
I knew how to cook more Ecuadorian meals. I guess I never picked that up, So now my cooking is, I love cooking, but it's more experiential. I'm a one pan type of
like a
chef.
stir fry.
Yeah, I love stir fries. I have two little ones, so dinner has to be quick.
Right.
And
you don't have hours to bake things.
And I'm not a baker, but I love to cook.
Oh,
Just
that's
throw
good.
things in the pan and
Now, getting back to Edgar Cayce now with your time here, what of all his readings, all these different subjects, is there a few areas that particularly resonate with you?
Yeah, a couple. I'm very interested in the Atlantis and ancient Egypt readings. I find that fascinating. Just kind of putting all the pieces together almost. It's you kind of know about the history, but then this goes deeper, and just kind of I've been enjoying maybe making connections and learning a little bit more about what he had to say. It's fascinating. And then reincarnation, that has always been a big interest of mine. You know, there's a curiosity there, you know, of like what happened before, you know, and just kind of, I just find it interesting. Yeah.
Have you had any glimpses of past lives, or do you feel that there's something from past lives that you resonate with? Like, do you feel like when you read about Atlantis and Egypt, do you have a sense that you were there?
I've always had some type of connection to like Egyptian culture. It almost felt like, I don't know how to explain it, but it just feels like I kind of like I read about it and you just feel like, you know, like it feels real, you know.
Have you been to Egypt?
I haven't been to
Egypt. Oh, you mean all those
Egypt,
tours that were going and you never jumped on one?
I never.
Oh.
But I hope that I get to go sometime soon. But with reincarnation
I'll be
now.
going in November, so.
Oh yeah, you are?
Yeah.
Oh nice, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh cool.
They had to postpone the Peru one.
Yeah.
And so they assigned me to the one in Egypt.
Okay.
I've been to.
Yeah, I know you've been
I led
a
that
few
tour
times.
with John for many times.
Is it you and John?
No, John isn't
Okay.
going.
Gotcha.
So I'll be, but I've co-led it with him.
Yeah.
Like 10 times, and then I've led a Japanese tour there, so I'm looking forward to it. Just going back, you know, I haven't been. I don't know how many years it's been now. It feels like it's been about 10 years since I last was there.
Fun.
Yeah, so you should.
I know.
Jump on it.
We need some people to sign up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exciting. But reincarnation, as I was telling you, has always been a big interest. And now that I have kids, you know, just it makes me even more curious. You know, because with your children, you know that there has been like they've been in your soul
Right.
group. You know,
Yeah.
so I always wonder like. How were we connected in the past, you know?
Have they told you things, or have you sensed things from them? You know, does your daughter say, "I remember when I was your mom"? Or
I know. No, I ask. You know, I put little questions out there, like, you know, do you remember anything from the time you were big? And sometimes they're like, "What do you mean?" You know, and I'm like, "Well, you know, I believe that we all have, you know, we had lives before this, and." Because our souls have been together, and I try to explain it to them, you know, and they get it. It's almost like it makes sense to them. They don't question it, you know. I talk about it, and they're like, okay, you know.
Have you watched that movie Soul with
yes,
them? Yeah.
my daughter is obsessed with it. We've been, I mean, I think I've watched it like 10 times, but she loves it. But she occasionally has little comments that she says that make me, you know, just kind of like wonder what she's talking about. But the other day she goes, Mommy, I really think that God put me here because I'm supposed to help you. You know, I was having one of the mommy moments where I was probably getting a little bit more angry than I should. And she goes, Mommy, I think I'm here to help you. Maybe help you calm down a little. I don't know. But she has those little moments that I'm like, oh.
She's a real, I mean, I think every parent thinks, of course, their kids are super special. But I've met your daughter, and I think she's really special. You can tell there's a lot going on in that little body. Just her energy, and she's got some stuff to do here.
Yeah. She's an old soul, and you know, she loves crystals, like, and those little things that just come out of nowhere. You know, like. I haven't talked to her really about crystals, but I have some in my house, and she goes and touches them. You know, she like sees me wearing a necklace, and she's like, "Can I touch it?" And she just wants to hold on to it. You know, for her 5th birthday, she wanted a crystal's birthday party. So you know, it's like those little things. So I'm like, hey,
and what about your son? Does he have? Does he talk about anything?
No, he's a little bit more reserved, you know. I think that he's more of an observer, so he's like taking things in. But he enjoys music, and you know, I see him as kind of possibly being a musician. You know, like since he was a baby, his baby sounds were in harmony, which was always like it always caught me off guard. You know, like his baby sounds had tune,
Oh, wow.
which I found really interesting. And now he just sings all the time. He's always singing. So I think, he has a little
sweet. So he's got
connection to
he's got
music,
that
which makes me
innate-
wonder too. I'm like, were you a musician in a past life? Are you bringing that with you?
You might see that.
So I try asking questions, but I haven't really gotten any deep answers. Yeah.
So here's another question. Just where do you see yourself going, like with A.R.E. or any kind of way? Like where do you see, what are your hopes and visions for your position, for the A.R.E.?
Yeah.
Anything about that?
Well, being at the A.R.E. has always felt like it's more than a job. It feels like a calling. From the first time that I started working here, there was like a passion there. Like I need to do more for the A.R.E. It's just kind of like has filled me with interest, and I see it as, I don't know, I love being here, and I love talking about the A.R.E. So I hope that I continue to be able to do that and kind of be a spokesperson for the A.R.E., especially in the local area. So that's kind of one of my main focus right now is as we start getting over the pandemic and start getting more people in here. I really want to reach out more locally. I think that there are so many people out there that don't know about the A.R.E., especially in this area. And that's one of my goals, to figure out different ways that we can connect a little bit more with the community.
That's great.
And do more community outreach. And then after that, I've been busy with kids, and I was going to school, that I haven't really had a chance to devote more time learning more about the readings, or maybe focusing on a specific topic. So I really want to do a little bit more of that, and just kind of, I would love to eventually become a presenter in some area.
Yeah.
But I kind of have to find what really, I'm passionate about in the readings or in the Cayce material, to see like what I can add or how I can make it my own, so that I can share with others. So that would be one of my goals, just picking a specific topic and making it my own, and then being able to share that with others. And so that's kind of where I see myself.
That's really good, because I remember reading about Hugh Lynn Cayce, Edgar Cayce's son, who took over, and he was like the president of the Virginia Beach Business Council. So he was very much involved in the community, and somehow we've kind of drifted from that.
Yeah.
And so there was a while where A.R.E. was like a community center. Things have changed, but I'm happy and support that initiative to kind of make ourselves. I mean, when I first came here, there was no sign on the building.
Yeah.
People thought this was a bank. I remember I went to open a bank account, the BB&T down the road, and I said I work at the A.R.E., and they didn't know what it was. And I said it's on, on 67th Street. They, I thought that was a library or a school or something.
Yeah.
So it's nice that we're getting on the map.
Right. And, I think that people drive through here all the time, but they don't quite know what it is.
Right.
So we're planning on hopefully starting some more community events and doing more things to get people here. And, the things are changing. A lot more people are more comfortable with meditation, with, like...
Oh, yeah.
Even reincarnation, like all the new age type of topics are really becoming a lot more mainstream. And I think that's really helpful for us to kind of tap into that and be able to reach, people.
Oh, yeah.
in
I
different
remember
ways.
when our bookstore started doing, they used to call them the psychic fairs. There was a line out the building. And it was a demographic, that, a younger family demographic, which was really great to see coming in here. So it's almost like once people know that this is a resource, it's like they'll come.
Yes, and I'm excited for that. I, with the networking groups that I've been doing, we have been inviting people to come to the A.R.E. And last year, before COVID, we had a group of business professionals that came here, about maybe 70, 80 people, and 90% of them had never been to the A.R.E, you know, but they were like very interested. You know, they're like, oh, we had no idea that, you know, you guys have such a big space and such a beautiful campus, and you have a massage school and you have a spa. Like, people don't know. So it's kind of, it excites me, you know, to be able to tell people about who we are and what we do, and see them have that reaction of like, oh, okay, so this is pretty nice, you know, and then they get interested in like, okay, so how can we collaborate? So that's kind of where I, you know, what I want to do. It's I really want to make more connections with our local community.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Good to hear. Well, I know we're just about at the end of our time, but is there anything we haven't covered? Anything you'd like to share?
I don't think so. No, not right now. I think this has been fun.
Good.
It's usually me doing the interviews, so
same
this
here.
is a little different.
And so I think your followers or the viewers appreciate getting to know you a little bit, and as you go forward with your interviews, they'll feel a little bit of a connection with who you are as a person, a little bit of your background.
Yeah.
So thanks for inviting me to do this. It's been a lot of fun.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Sure thing.
Yeah. Thanks everybody for watching. We'll see you next time.